Okay, good morning. My name is Chad Hagan. I'm the Vice President of our Consumer Products Group at SunOpta. SunOpta is a global leader in the organic ingredient space. We also convert organic ingredients into consumer packaged products that we make for retail brands as well as leading national brands around the country and world at one of our many facilities globally. I first want to do a couple housekeeping pieces. I want to thank Divine Flavors for sponsoring the session today. I really appreciate it. I also want to thank Origin O as the AV sponsor, so thanks to the sponsors for allowing us this opportunity. Secondly, I want to thank Matt and the team at OPS for carving out time on the agenda today to talk about organic ingredients. It's great for me to be back at OPS. I did the keynote a couple years ago, and I talked about some of the trends that were going on in the industry around organic ingredients and how it relates to the produce sector. So it's really exciting to be back to talk about this stuff. As the industry continues to evolve, it's really the growth on the organic ingredient sector that's enabling us as the industry to innovate, drive more new products into the space. So it's really important that the organic ingredients part of this industry continues to be fueled and grows. I'm honored to have such a great panel here today. We're going to be spending some time going through some opportunities in the organic ingredient space and how they relate to produce. Each person will give a short presentation. We'll all then answer some questions where they're going to break out as a group. We'll ask some questions to the group, and then we're going to open it up to some Q&A for you folks to have an opportunity to ask questions on your own. So first, our first panelist that's going to be speaking today is Lisa McNeese. Lisa is a veteran in the produce industry. She's a real driver of making great things happen at Grimmway Farms for the past 25 years. I can't think of a better person and a more experienced person to be up here talking to us today about the opportunities in organic ingredients and what Grimmway Farms does out there to make great things happen in the produce set. So thanks, Lisa.
Thank you.
The next presenter is going to be Brian Janes from Taylor Farms. Brian heads up product management and marketing at Taylor and has over 18 years of experience in the food industry. Prior to Taylor, he was at ReadyPack and at Rich Foods. At Taylor Farms continues to woo us with new innovation and new products all the time. They continue to reshape the produce industry, so it's an honor to have Brian and many of his team in the audience here to talk to us about what's happening over on the Taylor side. Our final presenter comes to us in the way of Amsterdam. Joost Hemlich leads the sustainability and marketing group at Tradin Organics. Tradin's headquarters is in Amsterdam. They have a local U.S. office here locally in Scotts Valley, California. Tradin is a global leader in the organic ingredient space. They're part of the SunOpta family. And they also have been a real pioneer in paving the way for a lot of global organic ingredient projects and supply chains around the world. So we thought it'd be interesting to have somebody from across the pond come talk a little bit about what's happening in Europe. So Joost, thanks for making the long journey to Monterey. We really appreciate it. So without further ado, please put your hands together for our great panel and our first presenter, Lisa McNeese.
Oops. Well, I don't know, I was hoping for a podium, but I'm just going to stand here and talk a little bit about of what we're doing as far as the industrial into the produce department. Although food retailing has definitely had some major changes over the past few years, I think that's just the beginning. And what we're going to see in the next years forthcoming is how we need to be creative within packaging and ingredients. It's all about millennials. Let's get over here. Oops. Is Taylor going to be...
Yeah, so as I was saying.
We can flip it. Yeah, Brian, you want to go first?
You want to flip it?
Sure.
Brian, you might as well go first.
Go ahead, you're up.
All right. First curveball of the morning. I like it.
I love it.
Your team did that intentionally.
All right. So, big green button?
Big green button.
All right.
There you go.
There we go. Good morning. All right, good. So we'll jump into a few things here on the packaged salad and veg side. Quick, the obligatory about Taylor Farms, for those in the room who don't know. Family-owned company, founded 23 years ago. We're proud to provide about 1 in 3 salads consumed in the U.S. We have 14 different facilities and operating companies, 16,000 employees, and we go to market really in 3 divisions, deli division, food service division, and then I'm representing the retail division today. 5 of our 14 processing facilities are USDA certified organic. We've got 2 more in the works, so by the end of the calendar year, that'll be 7. Look, like a lot of other companies, we're focused on a few things: quality, innovation, really collaborating with our customers and being a trusted partner, and sustainability. And not every company has sustainability sort of as one of their top strategies and focuses. But it is ours, and I want to talk about it for a couple minutes because we think there's a big connectivity between the organic marketplace, the organic consumer, and interest in sustainability. So wanted to take a few minutes to share what we're doing in that area. We talk about social, environmental, and financial, right? People, profit, planet, thank you. And we've got some good pictures here, and I want to talk about these pictures, starting with the one on the left. That's a solar array at our Tracy, California facility. We have 4 other facilities that have setups similar to that. The picture on the right is fuel cells at our Salinas retail salad plant. And the one in the middle is a wind turbine here in the valley at our Gonzales facility. And what's cool about the Gonzales facility, and amazes me still, is between solar, wind, and cogeneration, they generate 90% of their power needs through renewables, 90%. In addition to that, they've been, just last month, we announced that they are zero waste certified by the U.S. Green Building Council. So a minimum of 90% of their waste is diverted from landfills, incinerators, and the environment. It's a great success story around partnering with local recyclers, finding alternative uses for food waste, looking at everything in the supply chain, for example, taking wax cartons out of the supply chain. So the Gonzales team is done fantastic work there. And again, why does it matter? Why did I spend a few minutes on that? We're going to continue to drive sustainability and drive organics, but we really think that there's magic when those 2 things come together. And we talk to our customers about it. We talk to the industry about it. We talk to consumers about that piece. So that's sustainability. But we're on an organic ingredient panel, so let's talk about organic ingredients. Taylor is involved in these behind me and a few more that aren't on the list. And we kind of divide it up into leafy greens, salad business, and veg. So I want to talk about salads. It's been a great organic growth story, and it keeps growing. It's still growing, and it has for the last 10 plus years. And now organic salads have a 23 share of the packaged salad business, which is pretty fantastic. But, you know, we want to keep looking at, kicking the tires and really understanding what's happening. And it's not all rosy, right, for organics. Growth has slowed. This is the same chart as the last one. So organics still have a 23 share here, but look at the biggest share. It's salad kits at a 30 share. So chopped salads, Caesar salad kits, bowl kits. They're now the biggest share of packaged salad and growing at 15%. And organic growth has slowed a little bit, which I think is a concern for us attending this show. So great, let's just make organic salad kits. Well, what I want to talk about today is that that's not working broadly. Salad kits are not translating organically. The consumer demand doesn't seem to be there as much as we thought that it would be. We've done some great work on innovation, so have others in the space, in the industry, and some of our competitors have done a great job. We also have a $600 million deli division that specializes in convenience foods, salads, wraps, sandwiches. They do very little organic, right? So salad kits in the produce department organically aren't really working. In deli, they're not really working. So, as we sit here and talk about organic ingredients, how are we going to address that? Well, we've addressed a lot of things. We've got the year-round supply pretty much nailed down. We do have to work on the cost premium, especially kind of as we go through the long tail of some of those ingredients, and there is complexity. So, we remain committed to organic. We're driving, we're adding capability, we're adding capacity to organic. We are continuing to transition ground. We talked about our sustainability efforts and the connection there. We will skin the cat on organic, and I think we'll talk about that a little bit more during this panel. And then most importantly, right, we're partnering with our customers so that they can best serve their organic consumers as we go forward. So that's really what I wanted to share this morning, and maybe we'll see who's next. And
I have a
we'll go
question
from there.
first, Brian.
Yeah, you bet.
So you mentioned organic, the organic convenient kits and meals and that sort of thing. They have not gained traction as fast as you'd like to see. What are some of the ways you can address that from a business segment?
Well, we're considering a lot of things, and one of the areas that we're considering pretty strongly is made with organic, right? We've got this sort of, you're totally not organic or you're 100% USDA organic, and we do think that there's some examples in Center Store and other categories, Cliff Bar, many others, right? Made with organic rolled oats, where only 70% of your item is organic. So that might do two things. It might help us understand consumers clearly don't value everything as organically, right? We're seeing that. So we're trying to understand which ingredients and elements they want organic, which ones they find less appealing, and we think made with organic may help us bridge that gap and may also be a bridge toward full organic down the road. So that's, we're looking at, it's not just a product thing, right? It's merchandising, it's pricing, it's assortment, it's commitment throughout the chain, both on the processor side and the retailer side, in creating those destinations. So it's a whole host of things, but made with organic is certainly something we're looking at.
Yeah, I know on the packaged food side, that's been very effective. So
Right.
we can focus on the key ingredient that we know we have a long-term supply on, global supply on, and then we can supplement the other ingredients and grow that out into a 100% organic product over time.
Exactly.
So, well, good. So thank you. I appreciate it. So now, Lisa, you are up.
No?
No?
No? They did a great job on organizing this one. Okay. So Joost, all the way from Amsterdam, you're up.
Thank you very much, Chad. You already gave an introduction about our company, Tradin Organic. Thank you very much for that. We are the biggest trader worldwide in organic certified food ingredients. We don't do any fresh produce, so you won't find us in the fresh produce section, but we do pretty much everything else. So you'll find our ingredients in the juice section, in the frozen section, and also in the dried section. But you can also find our ingredients in processed products. Our headquarters are based in Amsterdam, but as Chad already mentioned, we have a big sales office here in the US, in Scotts Valley. And basically the steps that we are involved in, the work that we do is focus first of all on our sourcing. So we source a lot of different ingredients around the world, and we have around 15 own sourcing projects on the different continents. We have a broad network of agronomists and ingredient scouts that are working for us around the world to support our farmers and to find new sources for our products. Besides that, we're also involved a lot in processing. So we have a couple of processing or organic processing facilities, for example, for cocoa, for sesame, for sunflowers, etc. And we're involved a lot in distributing and making sure that our goods arrive to our customers, who are mostly food and beverage manufacturers. And our sales are roughly divided 50-50 between the US and Europe. And what I want to talk to you about today is a bit to show you a couple of trends that we are seeing in Europe in the organic produce section. As you'll see, there's a couple of these trends which are specifically related to some ingredients that are being hot right now in the European market. But there's also a couple of trends that are happening throughout the entire organic produce section that will affect the way that we are doing business in Europe. So I want to start first with a couple of quick trends. So first in the ready-made section, let's say in the salad kits that you already talked about in Europe, we see still an increasing diversification. So there's still more different products being used, different ingredients being used, and we see an increasing focus on superfood ingredients being used in salads and ready-made meals. So there's more diversity being offered, and there's more focus on the chia seeds or the goji berries that are included in those salads. The second trend that we are seeing is kind of opposite to the ready-made convenience trend, which is the make it yourself. So we see more people making things at home from scratch. So pretty much everybody is a home brewer now for beer. People make their own kombucha. They make their own hot sauces. They ferment their own vegetables and then post it on Instagram and brag about it to their friends. So we see, as a result of this, we see in the organic produce section, we see retailers offering products that you need to make these products at home. So different kind of chilies, different kind of vegetables for fermenting, but also the different kinds of vinegars or spices that you would use to make these ingredients. Another trend that we are seeing, and this is not a very new one, the zero added sugar or salt, but we see this going further and further. We actually see brands, especially in the soups and sauces section, now offering products that have no added sweeteners at all. So, for example, the tomato ketchup that you see here on the picture has no added sweeteners, and we see this across a lot of products that consumers don't want any sugar anymore, nor do they want any alternative sweeteners. They just want to focus on the prime ingredient. So if you sell tomato ketchup, it needs to be 90% or 95% tomato as the prime ingredient. And another trend that we're seeing is based around plant-based protein, and especially algae and seaweed. So people are looking for different sources for protein to replace meat, of course. And so you see beans and pulses being included in a lot of salads and ready-made meals. But especially seaweeds are very big at this moment. So you can buy fresh seaweed or dried seaweed just as a single package, but they're also being included in salads and ready-made meals. And even they're being used as an ingredient in sauces and condiments. Like, for example, the examples that you can see on top here. There's seaweed mayonnaise, seaweed mustard, seaweed tapenade. So it's definitely a hot ingredient right now. And then we get to two trends which are very much related to environmental sustainability. So first of all, we see an increased interest in what we call ugly ingredients. And this is very much related to the fight against food waste. So retailers and consumers want to reduce food waste, and they're now marketing ugly ingredients. So in the fresh produce section, you now see crooked cucumbers being offered at a lower price, or funny-looking carrots. And in the process section, where you look at soups and sauces, there's actually brands that are now selling their soups and sauces as including ugly ingredients that would have otherwise been discarded, which is kind of funny if you think about it, because a lot of these produce items were already made with lower grade ingredients anyway. But right now, there's a couple of brands marketing them as such, and they're being very successful at it. Another big one is the zero plastics movement, and this is really going to change the way we're doing business, we feel. This year, the main organic retailer in the Netherlands, they're opening up a plastic-free aisle in all of their supermarkets, and they even opened up a completely plastic-free pop-up supermarket this year in Amsterdam. It was open for 2 months, had over 600 products, all plastic-free. So we see in the fresh produce section a lot of laser-engraved branding of products. And in the packaged good, we see a lot of bioplastics, biodegradable or compostable packaging. And this is really, really going to be a big shift, because these guys, this retailer, they are dedicated to becoming 100% plastic-free. They're very close to achieving that. And once they do, they're going to turn their eyes on the supply chain. The last two trends that I want to discuss are also across something that we see across all ingredients. So first of all, we see a trend toward full traceability. So our consumers are asking for full traceability. They want to know who made the product that I'm eating. So in the fresh produce section, we see an increasing amount of fruits and vegetables that have a QR code on them. The customer or the consumer can come up, scan it with their smartphone, and see exactly who was the farmer that made that product. And we see the same trend even in processed products, where there's multiple ingredients. You can come up, you can scan the product with your app, and it will show you who are the farmers that were involved in making this product. And very much related to this is the last trend that we see, that people are demanding transparency on workers, farmers, working conditions, and the environment. So we see that throughout Europe, having a social certification on top of your organic certification is becoming the norm. It's not something special anymore. In the coming years, we'll see that will be a basic entry requirement to do business in certain supply chains or certain markets. And on top of that, since having a social certification is becoming an entry requirement, it's becoming the norm and not something special anymore, we see brands going beyond the social certification supporting community projects, supporting environmental projects to distinguish themselves from their competitors. So yeah, just to wrap up, there's some trends happening in Europe which are related to specific ingredients, but especially the last couple of trends that we're seeing. As a company, we have to be ready to answer these questions that we're going to get in the future about what do you do with plastics, what do you do against food waste. We have to be transparent about where we source our products from and who's involved in producing them. We're going to need social certifications to be able to continue to do business in Europe, and we're going to have to show a positive impact in the communities where we work. Thanks, Jim.
So, so what are some of the differences on the trend side between the US and the EU?
That's a good question. I think in general, we could say that probably in Europe we don't see the same level of diversification in products as we see here in the US. If you see the amount of products that you have, or the amount of different products that you would have in a Whole Foods here, you're probably not going to find that in a European organic retailer. And we usually look to the US or Asia for new ideas for new products. I think in general another difference is also that the retail prices in general are lower in Europe, so there's a lot more pressure on margins. Mm-hmm. And I think the other thing that we're seeing as I presented, we see a lot more focus on sustainability items and social responsibility as compared to the US.
Okay, cool, thank you.
What do you
So
know?
Lisa, I think it might be your time.
We're out of time, I'm sorry. Last but not least, hopefully. Well, let's go here. So a little bit about Grimmway at a glance. Many of you know Grimmway is carrots, but in 2001, Grimmway purchased CalOrganic. And from that purchase, we've acquired a whole line of organics, over 45 different or 65 different items year-round. Some are seasonal, of course. And we're farming majority of it, or the organic, in California. But Grimmway as a whole, we farm in over 7 states, trying to diversify a little, land, water, whatever we can possibly, the needs be, as many of you are addressing that are growers in this room. And then we offer over 135 items in all through our company, 18 manufacturing facilities throughout the US. We're going to be celebrating our 50th anniversary this next year, and that's pretty exciting for us. We're GFSI certified, over 7,000 employees in throughout our company. We are the largest employer in Kern County other than the county itself. So where we grow in Lamont and Arvin, it's pretty much Grimmway, which is pretty amazing. And these families are wonderful families that work for us, and they've been with us for many years, and it's pretty exciting that the culture that we've created within our organization. And then we ship to 50 states and over 20 countries worldwide. So our marketing department just recently went through and saw how many countries we were selling to. So here again, talking about ingredients and what's driving our business. Consumer trends, definitely. The millennial influence is definitely out there, and the consumer, the average organic consumer that we find from millennials is a female between 35 and 44, and then 55 and 64. I'm kind of in the middle there. West Coast resident, although we do see the organic business growing in other states. Part of the family with the above income of $75,000 or more, and definitely a label checker, committed to making sure what all the ingredients is that they're purchasing. So organic organic and natural consumers are similar in organic only. The consumer accept the value, convenience more, and more, more moderate in the views of the health and wellness. So then smaller brands are better. These consumers are demanding, as millennials are looking for more transparency in the brands and what they're purchasing, and they want that feel good. They want to know about the company. They want to know what you're about, what your culture is, similar to what you both have spoken about. So, and they want simple, healthy products. So whatever they can make that value added is, and Brian was talking about this and how you don't see the growth there. For us, on our side of the business, because we are predominantly commodity based, we do see a substantial growth on the organics, of providing organics to Taylors of the world and Manns and Appios and Doles and others, which is pretty exciting because, again, we're in the position to where we can grow these products. Grimway differentiates themselves too, is that we have over 40,000 acres of organic land. We own, we farm, we plant, we harvest, we pack. We are in total control of our organic products. Farm to table transparency, again, we need to have that. They want to see that the millennial, again, is driving our business. It's scary. We've seen how things have changed in just the last few years. Can you imagine in the next few years where we're going to be? We need to stay creative and stay focused on what products and what the consumer's demanding, and you need to be listening. And again, through our marketing departments and others, we really are very socially media conscious and listening to what we need to do and also sharing what we're doing internally. Again, it's all about transparency. So snacking is another thing that has become extremely, if you walk in the produce department these days, just look at how much shelf space fresh produce is getting in snacking. It's phenomenal, and I think there's just so much more opportunities. I believe the average adult is snacking 3 to 5 times a day. And so those are items that we need to look at as an industry for providing organic ingredients for these snacking options. It's on the go, ready to eat. Healthier kids. The parents want to make sure their kids are eating healthy. They want to make sure that they are getting snack items. Most parents, I think it was 69% of the parents say that their kids are very aware of what healthy items are. When I was growing up, it was potato chips and whatever else. But these kids these days, I am just so impressed with when I am around young adults and children, my friends' kids, and the items they choose. They choose a carrot, they choose an apple, they choose celery. Now I'm going to take you someplace else, which I think is you got to just be a big thinker here. But can you imagine, with no boundaries, with fruits and vegetables, a carrot hot dog, a roasted carrot hot dog with all these ethnically herbs and spices and everything else on that hot dog, to just try and taste. And friends of mine, they laugh when I eat. They call me a stacker because I love putting. I'll take a base and put something else on it. If I have eggs, I have to have jam on the side because I want that taste of that salt and savory. And so it's always adding ingredients. And I think, again, the sky's the limit on what we can do as far as adding ingredients into our meals and organically. So that's one other item. And then mobile eating. Who doesn't go? Myself, when we're traveling, I'm constantly looking at not only where I can eat, but also recipes I can cook when I'm at home, what's out there, healthier items. It's amazing, fascinating. So opportunities in soups. We provide a lot of product to soup companies, fresh soups and some canned. But look at, there's even pouches now. Again, Grimway's growing over 65 different items. We are able to provide carrots, potatoes, leeks, celery, broccoli, cauliflower, whatever our consumers needs. And what we find so beneficial in our business too is the product that we're providing, what we're selling at retail. We also have other product that doesn't make it into the retail package, but we're able to provide that ingredient, that organic ingredient, to the soup manufacturers. And as I'll show here down a few more slides, pet food, other opportunities within the organics. The soup companies, if you go in, it's kind of a feel-good. It's an emotional buy. Retail, if you go in the produce section, they have a section set out there just for the soups and fresh homemade soups and organic and conventional. So I think, again, and we've seen it was 3.5% growth in organic soups over the last year. Juices, we parlayed into juices for a while. We had our true organic juice. The juice section of our business is extremely competitive. And I think Grimway, what we felt is we need to focus on what we do well. And what we do well is growing fruits and vegetables, both organically and organically and conventional. And so we no longer do the true juice. We loved it. It was a great item for us, but decided let others do it. And we continue to supply the large manufacturers of juice, fresh juices, through purees or carrots, just whole carrots, which they take in and blend. So, and then baby food. Baby food, definitely an organic consumer there. They want the healthiest product for their little ones. And you can see through the slide here, they have the pouches and the jars, but it's a functional ingredient for health, and it has the healthy fats and allows sugar options as well. So that is the item that it continues to grow in our industry. And then we have our snacking opportunities. These days, you see kale chips, you see beet chips, you see carrot chips. Again, organically and conventional, but organic is definitely at the forefront here. Consumer wants to know that they want that feel good, and they want to make sure they're eating healthy and providing the healthy staples for their own families. So meal kits, you look at the HelloFresh and Blue Apron, I believe they control over 85% of the meal kits. And now with the recent acquisition of HelloFresh purchasing Green Chef, which now supplies organic, vegan, and gluten-free meals, huge opportunity again for all of us. And we need to look at those and see how we can provide something different. With the Blue Chefs and our Blue Aprons and HelloFresh, they come to us and they're like, what different cut can you give that we don't see? They want it to be more of a cut that they look like they're providing at home. The chef's it's not being manufactured. And then last, we have on the forefront opportunities. I love it when I see Yes Carrots, cosmetics, Yes to Carrots, Yes to Beets, all these different, the ingredients being added into, and I know this does not fit in the produce section. You never know though, maybe down the road. But the cosmetics, pet food, as I mentioned earlier, fur babies are important part of the family, and you want to make sure they're eating healthy and you're providing the best ingredients for them. And then bakery and savory desserts. What can we do with adding a different flavor, something exciting? Beets into cupcakes, carrot cake, of course, is a natural, and adding leeks or just something different. So there's, I think, to kind of in the conclusion of this, for us and at Grimway, we're seeing huge opportunities for us to provide these ingredients. And again, we're so diversified. It's not just fresh, it's frozen. It's through our juice, we have a juice side of the business too that does purees and stuff. So we feel that the sky's the limit, and we want to stay in touch with our consumers, our customers, and listen to their needs and provide what we possibly can. And that's it for me.
Thank you, Lisa.
You're welcome.
So I think with all these three presentations, I've been in the industry now close to 25 years, and I started my career in produce. The produce department, produce categories really changed, right? We went from really a commodity-based department to now you walk into produce, and every brand, anything on trend wants to be in that set, right? It's got the velocity. Everybody fights for that new and latest, greatest in the space. But all this is going to require keeping up with the demand of this industry, right? And so I'd like to talk a little bit about what your organizations are doing to keep up with organic demand, so we can keep this pace with the diversity and the new innovation of products. So Lisa, what at Grimway are you guys doing to kind of keep up with organic demand?
I like this. This is no pun intended, but we keep growing. We grow over, like I said, 65 different items, and we have over 40,000 acres of organic ground. We're continually transitioning ground to become certified organic, and we're listening to our customers' demands and what their needs are. So I think we're just open-minded.
And Brian at Taylor, what?
Similar, diversified supply throughout the country in North America, continuing to transition ground, continuing to innovate. Our Ag Ops team has, for example, working with a grower down in Florida with hoop houses to grow baby leaf in a spot where it couldn't, in a time where it usually wasn't grown, so that we can, sort of drive against lower cost, lower transportation as well. So I think it's a focus on it, and it's a plan going forward. As we know it's 3 years to transition ground, so it's a continual plan.
You're kind of going in.
Am I having problems?
How about you, Joost? What's happening on the Trodden side to keep up kind of with year-round supply and the demand of the industry on a global perspective?
Yeah, I think it's somehow similar as what was already mentioned by the other panelists here. For us, it's very important to have that year-round supply. It's very important for one specific items to have several sources, since seasons may vary. The other thing that we are really paying a lot of attention to is having long-term relations with our suppliers. This is very important for the organic sector. Instead of revolving your suppliers and just go to the cheapest one every year, we have long-term commitments with most of our suppliers. This is very important for us to maintain a stable supply. And another thing that we're seeing, especially in some of the more tropical areas, is climate change. Changing climate patterns are really affecting production in some of our sourcing projects. So we're right now setting up a program and investing quite a lot in farmer field schools and training our farmers on how to adapt to climate change.
So this kind of transitions into transition. So 20 years ago, when I was in the produce industry, there was this whole thing about transitional organic, and people really didn't understand it. They didn't know how to merchandise it. In 2016, Kashi has made a huge push into this, part of Kellogg's company, and they've really gone all the way to even putting it now on their cereal box. They're identifying transitional organic. They're highlighting growers who are moving into the transitional space. What do you guys feel kind of, being specific to kind of Lisa and Brian on the larger side of this industry from a company side, what do you feel about kind of transitional organic, and what are you guys doing maybe to incentivize your growers to move into that 3-year gap as we move into the growth? Brian, you want to start?
So, in many ways, we really thought that was a brilliant move that Kashi did. We've looked at it. We're not ready to kind of do what they did, but we think it's important to understand that piece. So what they did is they created a certified transitional logo and sort of did education to consumers around the percentage of crop acreage that's organic, and the 3-year transition period. So right now it is a great cost and risk to growers and processors. We take on part of that risk as we help transition ground. So I think that it's a great effort, and it's something that I think we need to look at as an industry. We don't, right now we don't have plans to kind of follow exactly in their footsteps, but we've got skin in the game on the transition deal.
Lisa?
I totally agree with what Brian said. I mean, I think you're spot on. For us, it's somewhat of a gray area. And I think as our president of our company, Jeff Huckabee, always says, it's about education and integrity. So it's, and again, it's not about, we don't want to water down the meaning of organic, what the true meaning of organic is. So we want to be cognizant of that, but at the same time, I think their efforts and what they're trying to do is great, and you need, in doing that transitioning too, because so much goes into that, the cost. You need to make sure it's not just you're being, it's the, as I say, the price points there too, because there is a huge cost associated with that. So.
Yeah, I think it's critical that the industry continues to drive in that area. We have to transition more and more land to keep up with the growth. And as we speak about organic ingredients, as we diversify the portfolio of organic items, we're going to have to continue to fuel the growth of a lot of these smaller items that then go into your salad kit. Or else you're going to be just stuck with a made with organic product instead of 100% organic product.
Yeah.
So I think as an industry, I think hats off to what they have done. And I think from the produce side of the business, we can be doing a lot more to help support some of those initiatives. With that, I'm going to open up. We have about 9 minutes left. I'd like to have an interactive question and answer session for you folks. So please feel free to answer any questions for the panel. Somebody like to start? Sure, over there.
Hi, this is Cindy Sherman with Frida Specialty Produce. I had a question for you, Joost. You talked about the outlook in Europe. And I keep hearing a lot about how the produce sections in Europe, everything is packaged. And so what you were talking about was very different from that. So curious to find out if you meant packaging free or you meant plastic free, since there are other types of packaging. And then given that we're hearing everything is packaged, even more so here, I'm assuming that food safety is driving that, but how do you see those two trends reconciling? So desire for protection versus, undoing the evils of, of unnecessary packaging and the impact to the environment.
Yeah, thanks for the question. That's a really good one. So yeah, we see we see the same thing. If you go to a normal supermarket, we see the same thing with packaging in the produce section. So even I, as a consumer, sometimes I'll walk through the produce section and say, "Why is this? Why are my bananas packaged in a plastic bag? Why is that necessary? They already have a peel around them." The retailer that I mentioned, they're called EcoPlaza. Their focus is on getting rid of plastic, not necessary packaging. So they want to either replace their packaging, so they're pushing their suppliers to either package in paper or compostable materials or bioplastics, which are biodegradable. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Yes.
Any other questions? In the back room there.
Yeah, hi, this is for Brian. You commented about value add in the salad category. Can you comment also about value add and opportunities and trends in vegetable category?
Absolutely, thank you. So we talked about in value-added salad, organic has about a 23 share. In veg, it's about a 5% share. So quite a bit lower. One of the reasons is consistent supply has been a little bit more challenge. The vegetables are in the ground longer than leafy greens, so there's a piece there. We do see that growing. We don't think it's going to get up to 20% like salad, but we do see over the next, say, 3 years that ticks up into the high single digits. We also, and Lisa talked about this we talked about this earlier on the snacking side, right? As we look at veg, we see vegetable trays, snacks, the combination of vegetables and fruit coming together, and we see an opportunity there to grow that whole set, and we're already doing that conventionally over the last, I think, couple years. We've seen big growth, and going forward, we're trying to figure out how we put hero organic ingredients in there and fully organic items into that piece. So thank you for that question.
Next question. Anyone else? Okay, well, I thank you for coming to our panel today. Thank you to the panelists for your time and presentation. It was all very insightful. Thanks for supporting Organic Ingredients and OPS.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.